Reserve Bank announcement OCR this afternoon. Nothing changed.
Nothing changed, but certainly there was some change in language, and so the Reserve Bank governor struck a more cautious tone. And so up until the last statement, not the one today, but the one before, he'd been saying that the interest rates could move up or down. And then last statement, he removed the up and down option and sort of suggested it would probably be a more up. Now we find we're back to the up and down language. And so he had a media conference following the release of the OCR, and this is what he had to say.
We expect to keep the OCR at this level throughout 2019 and 2020. And the direction of our next OCR move could be up or down. Employment is near its maximum sustainable level. However, our consumer price inflation, core inflation, remains below the midpoint of our 1 to 3% target range, and that necessitates continued supportive monetary policy. Our trading partner growth is expected to further moderate in 2019, and global commodity prices have already softened. We see that as reducing the tailwind that the New Zealand economic activity has benefited from over recent years. The risk of a sharper downturn in trading partner growth has also heightened over recent months. Despite the weaker global impetus, however, we expect low interest rates and government spending to support a pickup in New Zealand's GDP growth over 2019. Low interest rates and continued employment growth should support household spending and business investment. Government spending on infrastructure and housing also will support domestic demand.
And so that's the Reserve Bank Governor, Adrian Orr, there speaking. Now, interestingly, the market's reaction has been quite remarkable because they had priced in a more cautious tone and the up and down risk, but he was far more optimistic in his outlook for the local economy, and that saw our Kiwi dollar literally soar. I mean, it moved, well, I guess a cent against the US dollar today, this afternoon.
It's interesting the time frame he said there, Nona, which is quite long. He's basically saying we're going to sit where we are through 2019 and 2020.
Yeah, he's got a comfortable position, of course, at at an interest rate at 1.75%. That he can afford to sit there, and he has room to move down if he needs to. In the meantime, the world, the global stages, I guess people are playing their trade talks, and we're having that in China right now. There's a lot of optimism that that's going to turn out well, that there'll be some kind of a truce between the U.S. and China, and things will return to somewhat normal conditions, and the global risks will ease. There's that on the horizon. That certainly would have been helping the market consider maybe the Kiwi has more upside than we thought. So yeah, moved to 68.5 U.S. cents today. Now, yesterday we were at 67.3, so that just gives you an indication. And we'd been steady there for quite a long time because the market was expecting what the governor said, but then not to suggest that our economy, our local economy, had as much strength as it did. And so we're touching 96 Australian cents, and again yesterday we were like a whole cent below that, and 53.1 pence. So very strong numbers there on the currency. On the local market, so that's the NZX top 50 index, we had a very strong day again because the mood has improved in terms of trade talks. We rose more than 0.5% today, 53 points up to 9,333, and that we were seeing that kind of movement in Asia as well. Moving against the trend, though, just because I noticed that you actually spoke about SkyCity earlier, their share price dropped about 4%. That was a 16-cent drop to $3.33 and $3.83, and that's because the market really didn't like their result very much at all. They had an outlook for the second half which was tentative, and they suggested that the weakening economy could play into that. So they were cautious as well, except the market didn't like that as much as Mr. Governor Orr's
his announcement.
His was cautious too, but people liked it more than they liked the one from SkyCity.